Morning, guys. Welcome to the Unrivaled Potential Podcast. My name's Mike.
I'm Ryan.
Yeah, let's get started today. Today we're going to mix in a little bit of humor and some serious talk.
You can't tell them you're going to mix in humor. That's supposed to be a surprise.
Oh, shock. Today we're going to talk about some serious stuff.
Yeah, nothing
in
but
regards to business.
Welcome. Thanks for being here. We
can't time the coffee cups either because it looks weird. It's like, the fact is, I told you I was wearing blue jeans today. Why didn't you wear something else?
I only wear blue jeans. Yeah, maybe that's
why. Forever in blue jeans. Who sung that? That was Neil Young. Neil Nyman. That's not Neil Young.
Neil Young doesn't have any good songs.
He does do. Harvest Moon.
Shut up. You shut your mouth. Yeah, nothing but serious stuff today. Business talk. I'm going to talk about some of Mike's experiences in the plumbing and heating world, and all the funny things that happen when you're out talking to people about advertising. So.
Oh, and you were saying nothing funny happens with coffee, but we had an experience now. So one of the newer guys, he has never made drip coffee for this large amount of people. And brought up an old story of mine, for one, and then we came in the other day, and you could see through the coffee pot. And I was like, man, what are we at, Starving Arvin's, you know? And oh, come on, yeah. And I opened up the top, you know, and there's maybe like 3 tablespoons of coffee in there, like he'd put in his French press in the morning, you know. And and you can't, you know, how it works here at Unrivaled is that you make one mistake and then I'll just give you crap for it for the rest of your life, you know.
Yep. Yes.
Well, anyway, so coffee. So we got that sorted, and then I give him grief for that, you know, and it.
So where's the funny story about coffee?
Well, that was funny in itself, but then originally I wasn't raised with coffee. It wasn't something that
all the Brits drink tea.
Yeah, well, so my parents don't even drink tea, so I didn't even have that. So they just don't like hot drinks at all, and. So
why would you?
Got to 15 years old, and I was working at a job, and I thought I got there early one morning. I had a key for the place. I was a newspaper pressman. I was all excited. I got inside, and I saw this coffee pot over in the corner. You know, and I was like, I'm going to get that started for all these guys because they love coffee, and I still hadn't drank it at that point. And so I had no idea about coffee filters. And so I just filled that basin with coffee grounds, you know, and just scoop in some Folgers, and then it clogged up everything, and clogged up the jets, and then the coffee was. It was
really good.
It was thick, you know. It's really thick. Well, I
don't usually chew my coffee, but
so I didn't know anything was wrong with it. Left it be and did its thing, and then went to doing what I was doing. And I was in and out of at the time, they probably still have them now, but the black and white room, right, where you're doing all the ultraviolet light for the prints in the newspaper, you know, and you got to do them anyway. So I was in there doing that, making copies, and every time I came out of the room and went back in there, I could hear somebody hollering like, "Who started the coffee pot this morning?" You know? And I could not admit at that time that it was me, and then finally it was like, Mike, somebody came and asked me. I was like, oh yeah, why? Does it taste good? You know, it tastes good. I already knew at that point like something was wrong, and I was like, yeah, I thought I'd start the coffee this morning. And so
have you ever made coffee before, Mike?
Yeah.
No, why?
Yeah, I wasn't certified at all. So,
that story is a little funnier than the one of your new guy making you coffee water, lightly colored coffee water.
Well, it happened once. That was a funny thing. It happened once, and I was like, ew. And I think and I think he drank it just to be like, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I don't want to waste it, you know. And then I was like, I'll throw that crap away. And then he did it again, and I was like, oh, I think I better show you how to do this. You know?
Methinks he doesn't know how to make coffee.
Yeah. Tastes good. We like coffee black here.
Yeah, we like it black.
I like my women.
I was going to say there's a joke there, but I'm not going there.
Yeah. As my college professor always used to say, I like the coffee like I like my women. Bitter. Yeah.
That's more realistic. Most guys aren't dating hot black women.
Yeah. Yeah, I put that life behind me a long time ago.
Like I said, most guys.
Yeah.
I didn't say everybody. All right, down to business. So yesterday we had a great meeting with a consultant and also me and you and Jacob and just sitting down to, reevaluate some stuff and see, hey, are there changes we need to make right now to, springboard us forward in business? So give me your filtered version of that, and by filtered I just mean your quick version of that meeting, and then we can talk about some of the value of bringing in some outside eyes.
Boy, it's hard. It's hard to go back. When someone doesn't know your business intimately, it's important to bring in outside perspective, I think, because that's just too much pride else. But I think it was valuable in a couple of different ways. It's definitely, there's a huge part of this that was a learning lesson. Just like we spoke yesterday after the meeting was done of, okay, what do we need to do December, January to prepare for February? I think that's really set in stone. Like, that was a big mistake. Right? Mm-hmm. Lesson learned. Don't do it again. Right? If you don't learn from that lesson, it's your own stinking fault. Right? That's the season to go take vacations. Even though we were joking, I mean, that really would be. Why not take a week and go do it? We could have.
Mm-hmm.
And so preparation, not only financially, but also marketing wise, of how do we have maybe the biggest blowout sale like a mattress company's got every week. Maybe we have something like that in February. Valentine's Day special, boom, see if we can keep that month, because you got to keep that month at where our margins are anyway, else it's going to screw up the whole year for what it looks like for profit margins. So that's what I took out of it. We learning a couple of things on the lines of where we could market and maybe where we're lacking in the whole realization for Montrose County right now is that we're visible, and there's still a lot of visibility that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Visibility, right? There's still a ton of people that don't know who we are, haven't seen our names, whether it's new construction, whether it's service work or commercial. People need to go, have you tried those guys? Have you heard from them? Not we can't get hold of anybody and nobody's calling us back, which is common. That's right. This is why we market what we market. Same day service, all that stuff is because you can't get a hold of a plumber for 2 weeks and they don't call you back. And so we are changing that and the customer service. And so I want to be able to tell people, no, hey, we don't do that. Not find out that they haven't even found us. Right. Mm-hmm. So that was some good stuff. Some good insight in that.
That is valuable. Well, and to the business owners who've been out there for, maybe even 5 years or something like that, realize that unless you've spent the advertising dollars and really pushed it hard, there's a huge chunk of your potential customers who don't even know you exist. That's just facts and stats.
Yeah. They'll never find out you're too expensive until they find out that you're there.
Yep. Yeah. I pray that people call me every day and say, "Oh, you're too expensive," because at least somebody's calling me every day, and there's always going to be those ones that they are my customer and they're willing to pay for quality. Athletic clubs do a lot of research on who comes in and starts a membership and stuff like that, because for them, getting you signed up as a member is the gravy, the beginning of the gravy train, because half the people don't even come back the next month, but they keep paying for years. Right. So it's great business.
So that's how Planet Fitness got their, that's how they do it. They got rid of all the big equipment. So bodybuilders don't go there and wear everything else, which is normal people. They got rid of the squat racks and everything.
Yeah. There's a gym here in town that specifically caters to the over 60 club, because they know those people are not wearing stuff out.
The one above endless possibilities.
Yeah. Yep, that's the one. And
golly, you went to that flip. Oh, sorry, go.
Are we giving free advertising or? So they do all this research to find out, what gets somebody in the gym in the first place to figure out. And they figured out people will drive past that fitness center for, I believe the number was 3+ years before they'll even think about going in and finding out what a rate is. So you have to have that repetition, and people have to see your name multiple times and hear it and really become familiarized with it before they're like, oh yeah, Unrivaled Plumbing and Heating. I should give them a call when my furnace goes out or my water heater or whatever it is, or I want to remodel.
If you tried those guys, they always answer the phone, right? I mean, that's
the reputation we want, right? They always answer the phone, and they'll have a guy out there in half an hour, because that happens. I can't guarantee half an hour, but it happens regularly where somebody calls up and you say, well, I've got a guy 2 streets over and he'll be done in half an hour and he can come check it out. Or oh, you're 20 minutes away. Well, I can have the guy leave in 5, so they'll be in 25 minutes. Yeah. Oh, the other thing that I thought was really insightful was, like you said, it is great to have somebody come in and give you a different perspective on your business. And for us yesterday, one of the best things about that was you and I and Jacob got to have a really good conversation about who Unrivaled Plumbing and Heating is and wants to be. And I'd never had any conversations like that with Jacob. I'm sure you have, but it was very very beneficial for us to kind of be forced into that conversation and have to say, yeah, this is good advice because it tracks with where we're going, and this is not. And take value from everybody who comes in and tries to contribute to your business. So, on that note, it's time for funny plumbing stories with Mike Pomeroy.
Oh.
Did you know that, Mike?
No.
We did talk about this.
We did. Yeah. I heard about it. And then I probably forgot. Yeah.
That's a running joke. Are we doing that today? So, I'm putting him on the spot.
Funny plumbing stories.
Let's hear you
go all the way back to the beginning.
Please. Let's start back to the where you should always start.
Oh, when I was a lad. Yeah.
My kids watched The Lion King yesterday. So as soon as you said when I was thinking, a young warthog.
Oh, when I was a young warthog.
Yeah. Sing it. Yeah. Sing it, Mike. We just coordinate our coffee drink again. Wait for it.
What was that song? He goes, hey, he had an aroma like a certain appeal. He could clear the savannah after every meal.
You're going to have to get a copyright for this.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. God, that was Lion King 1.5, wasn't it?
No, that's the first one. The original. 1.5 was terrible. Not even.
I liked 1.5.
Not even worth going back and watching. No, sorry. Oh. You have terrible taste.
Well, probably at that age. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Oh, man. That's the worst. Going back and watching movies that you were like, oh, this was great. And you watch it and you're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
It wasn't funny at all.
I always enjoyed when the parrot toucan.
Zazu.
Yeah, it was stuck in the rib cage. He's like, and he's like, oh, I got to entertain you, So he's like, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Da, 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 da. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The classics.
Yeah. Anyway, funny plumbing stories. All the way back to the beginning. I was just a little feller.
Mike was never a little feller.
21 years old. Just a measly 6'3",
Are you 6'4" now, or what?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. Kept growing. Yeah. I was size 13 feet,
Gosh, that was a long time ago.
That was another 14s. Let me... Right. So there I was, okay? Underneath.
No shit.
Average.
Yeah. There was. No shit.
Yeah.
Hold my beer. Sorry. I'm getting us off track.
No, there was shit. I'm a plumber. That's what it is.
Some shit.
Yeah. So I heard about this several years later. So you'll have to, and I was laughing listening to the radio show. So this had happened to me prior to that, though, before it got famous. And I only had a flip phone. So I couldn't really film all of this stuff, right? Yeah. So there I am, biggest guy on site, working for this plumbing company. I had gone and asked them if, like, I was out in the oil fields, and they said, no, don't go to this college course. Don't go to trade school. Just come work for us. We'll show you how it's done. And it was more valuable to us. It's like, okay. So I quit the oil fields and went and worked for this company for $12 an hour.
Which at the time was great money.
No, it's terrible. Yeah.
I guess you're not that old, are you?
Yeah. And so jumped right in, and there's a leak underneath of a trailer house. Okay, so, but the leak was all the way in the front. As most single-wide trailers, it was paneled all the way around it. With this one was solid siding, so you couldn't just like pop off a thing. So you had to crawl from the back along the frame and the axles, and you couldn't get from here over to here until you got further back this way. So I got a little channel like this, and I had to go 60 feet, the full length of the trailer, all the way down. And there, you can't see all the way through because there's so many spider webs. Oh, just thick, right? And so I had a propane torch with me because I had to go underneath and solder. And so I then found out in that exact moment that spider webs are incredibly flammable. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And so I pulled out the torch. I was whacking them all, and I get to the back, and my foreman boss at the time, he goes, you got everything good down there, Mike? He's like, yeah, it's fine. He could barely hear me. So I'm like, now I'm going to try light these stupid, there were some big spiders underneath there, and we have black widows up there too. So, so anyway, pulled out the torch, and it just went, it's kind of like when you drop a torch, like you see in the movies, and they drop it down the bottomless pit, and it just, the light goes down like that. It did that all the way along. And then it just stunk, and it burned my eyebrows, and so I'm underneath there, and I fix the leak, and I come back out, and my boss goes, what the heck happened to you? I was like, you stink. Like, turns out, I was like, I was trying to do some soldering under there when I wasn't. And anyway, so I burned my eyebrows first day of the job. And then at that time, this is the same instance. I had bought myself one of those little mag lights, the little tiny ones that go on your belt, so I had a Leatherman, and I had a little flashlight, and I was like, my jeans and a belt on. I'm like, I'm ready for work, and I just felt cool, and I get underneath. And so a mag light is really handy in certain situations, except when you're plumbing, and you have to then hold the light while you're fixing something above your head, which is most things, right? So your
mag lights aren't small enough where you just shouldn't put them in your mouth.
So exactly, really bad habit. But I didn't know that at the time because I just started plumbing. So working underneath this trailer house that was full of water, and the underbelly is waterproof, so it just sits like this. And so I popped it with my knife, and I'm holding the flashlight in my mouth. And I just half drowned, and I'm puking. So finally, I was like, this is stupid. So then, the next day I went and bought myself a headlamp. and I graduated from a headlamp to one of those DeWalt flashlights that stands on the ground. Then I graduated to a desk, so I don't have to use one of those fucking things again.
You swallowed enough sewage. Oh, well, thank you. This has been Plumbing Stories with Mike Pomeroy. Maybe next week.
The part of the show where Mike Pomeroy comes out and says a funny plumbing story.
Maybe next week will be less disgusting, but probably not. So.
Oh no, it gets way worse from there. That was fresh water. We keep going down.
So when my oldest was brand new baby, we had her in Brownwood, Texas, while driving from Fort Hood back to Colorado, because I was going to drop off Ashley and hopefully she was going to have the baby in Colorado. And then I was going to go deploy to Iraq. And baby didn't want to wait, so she came while we were on the way. And then we drove back to Colorado. So we're living in my in-laws' guest room for 4 weeks until I deployed.
Oh gosh, that was fun. Yeah.
Blast. And so I'm putting, little like 3-week-old Haley to sleep one night by the light of the little closet light. And so I'm trying to sing her back to sleep. Brand new dad, don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm like 22 years old. And started singing this song. Daddy just tooted and we hope it don't stink. Hope it don't stink. Hope it don't stink. Daddy just tooted and we hope it don't stink. But it probably will. And that song has stuck with our family for 16 years now.
Oh, that's great.
It's a key classic. So if you ever hear somebody humming that song, somebody just tooted. We've got verses for everybody in the family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mommy just tooted and we know it won't stink.
So I had that well, not the same story, but similar. So we were in.
I also was getting ready to deploy to Iraq with a 4-week-old baby that we'd had in Texas and moved back to Colorado. I got the same story. Doesn't everybody?
Right? That's just, geez, act like you're all special, So the
same thing happened to you.
Well, so we were in between houses, moving out in a rental, and then we were purchasing a house, waiting for it to close. I had to go stay at my in-laws for 4 weeks.
Exciting.
Yeah. And got along with them good, and in-laws are amazing people, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But they live lives just a little bit differently than what I do. Very organized, and as you can tell, I like I like
You're
structure,
so
a hammock and stuff like that. And so I got home. That's like the second day that we're staying there. Jess and I are sleeping in a bunk bed.
Ooh, sweet.
And on the same level, obviously, that would be weird. Mix it up a little bit, It's just not, so just pretend you're in prison, and
too many jokes.
Yeah.
Too many jokes.
So I come home. We're back to their house and go to take a shower. I say, hey, Jess, I forgot a towel. Could you grab me one? And it's typical for that household. Laundry stayed on the dining room table, folded until you needed it, right? So never went anywhere else, just stayed there so the cats could sleep on everything. And so she brought me a towel off the top of the pile and threw it in the bathroom, and I grabbed it fresh out of the shower, and first thing you do, where do you go? You go right for your face, right? So you just like that, and I'm covered in blonde cat hair. And I'm like, it's in my eyes, and I was so angry. And so I got
somewhere for the cats.
So I can't see, right? So I put the towel around me, and I go to walk outside the bathroom. I was like, Jess, grab me another towel, would you love? And I go and stand out there, and her stepdad's 2 Shih Tzus had taken a dump, just a runny diarrhea dump right in front of the door. And so I stood on it, and it squished right between the toes. It was so gross.
Oh.
You wouldn't even think a Shih Tzu could do that, but the little shits did, And I know, the rate, first, second night, covered in cat hair. Now I've got dog shit in between my toes.
You hop back in the shower.
And I had to hop back in, and she brought me a new towel. Ready?
Yeah. To in-laws. Yeah, my mom, as my wife's in-law, she's always just so thankful that she can make any conversation political. So, you mentioned the weather, and she said, this global warming we had going on. And so, like, if it's cold, she's like, of course there's no global warming because it's cold. And if it's hot, it's like, you believe people think this is global warming because it got warm in the spring? Without getting too political, I just love watching people freak out and melt down because of stuff that doesn't affect them, will never have any impact on their lives, and probably isn't a big deal even for the people who it is affecting.
Yeah. It's just, nothing changed for me during COVID, work-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, it was none of these things that have affected me. Or I've been plumbing through the last 2 crises, basically, and elections and all that stuff. My career hasn't changed.
Here's a note to all you guys who are in other fields. Plumbing is very stable.
Yeah, I didn't have a day off. I had one customer in that whole 2020 to 22, basically, were like, hey, I need you to wear a face mask. Other than that, nobody cared.
All right.
They didn't ask. They didn't wear them themselves. It was life went on.
Anyway, thanks for joining us this morning with Unrivaled Potential Podcast. Mike Pomeroy of Unrivaled Plumbing and Ryan McKee. We'll catch you next week.